Do you know what Malema and I have in common? We are both bank robbers. That sentence, delivered casually by a sitting minister of government, sent shockwaves through South African social media. Gayton McKenzie, our Minister of Sport, Arts and Culture, didn't hesitate to compare his past as an armed criminal to Julius Malema's alleged involvement in the looting of VBS Mutual Bank. One used a gun. The other, he says, used politics and influence. One served time. The other built a political empire. But beneath the surface of that outrageous statement lies something even more disturbing. What if this wasn't a joke or an insult? What if it was the most honest reflection of what South African politics has become? To understand the weight of Gayton's comparison, we need to look at both men. McKenzie is no stranger to infamy, a convicted bank robber turned businessman, turned prison whistleblower, turned politician. He built himself back up from a criminal past, leaned into that redemption arc, and eventually ascended to national government. His co-founder in the Patriotic Alliance, Kenny Kunena, shares a similar trajectory. Together, they've used their time in prison as political capital. Julius Malema, on the other hand, has never been convicted of any crime, but his name is repeatedly linked to the looting of VBS Mutual Bank, where nearly $2 billion vanished from depositors, including pensioners and rural municipalities. Malema maintains his innocence, but the optics are hard to ignore: designer clothes, luxury homes, high-end vehicles, all while claiming to be a champion of the working class. Gayton's statement was more than just a swipe at Malema's hypocrisy. It was a thesis: South African politics is full of thieves, the only difference is who gets caught and who gets clever. There's something deeply South African about that narrative. In a nation where the lines between liberation hero, hustler, and criminal have long been blurred, the idea of a reformed gangster as a people's champion is not new. In fact, it's become politically useful. McKenzie has positioned himself as someone who's already paid his debt to society. He presents himself as transparent, raw, even. And in a world full of polished liars, rawness has power. That's the real magic trick here. In a system full of corruption, being honest about your dirt makes you seem more trustworthy than someone who denies having any. It's the authenticity paradox: the more broken you are, the more relatable you seem. And the more relatable you are, the more politically bulletproof you become, even if you're still playing the game. But here's where things get uncomfortable. Because this isn't just about the politicians, it's also about us. The voters. The people watching this political theater unfold. We've allowed charisma to replace credibility. We've started confusing confession for character. Somewhere along the way, we've started thinking, at least he's honest about being a crook, as if that's a qualification for public office. Gayton and Malema are both performing. One wears his past like a badge. The other denies and deflects. But the real victims of this show aren't the politicians. They're the millions of South Africans robbed every day of opportunity, of safety, of dignity. While two powerful men argue over who is the bigger bank robber, real people are going hungry, living in darkness, attending broken schools, and drinking dirty water. And yet, we laugh along with them. We share the clips. We debate the quotes. We meme the madness. That's the tragedy. We've made corruption entertaining. Even worse, they've figured out how to make it marketable. Both men have learned to spin scandal into story, and controversy into currency. And we keep buying it, not because we believe in them, but because we've lost belief in everything else. This isn't new, either. The strongman turned savior is a global pattern. Trump in the US. Bolsonaro in Brazil. Zuma, even, in our own backyard. Men who break things and then tell you only they can fix them. They are walking paradoxes, and their power lies in that contradiction. In South Africa, we've been fed a dangerous lie, that only a thief understands thieves, and that only a gangster can govern other gangsters. That honesty and integrity are luxuries for other countries. But that's not true. We don't need louder criminals. We need quieter, better leaders. We've been told that there are only two choices: the liar who smiles or the thief who admits it. That's not democracy, that's despair. And it's time we recognize that for what it is. Because if a sitting minister can call himself a bank robber, and be applauded for it, then maybe we're the ones being robbed, not just of our money, but of our expectations. This isn't about Julius or Gayton anymore. It's about us. It's about whether we are willing to keep mistaking shock for leadership, confession for competence, and populism for principle. We can demand better. We can hold leaders to real standards. We can stop choosing between characters and start choosing people who build, not just brand themselves. South Africa doesn't need another robber with a redemption arc. It needs visionaries who never had to rob us in the first place. And the only way we get them is if we stop clapping for the drama and start demanding the discipline.